A very good evening to one and all, and a very warm welcome once again, for a webinar. We're really happy to host this kind of webinars so that we are able to empower you with the knowledge, and that will enable you to do the right things. So before we start, I would just like to thank each one of you present here. So June 1st, 2020, when the pandemic started, that's when we decided to go online with the sessions. With all your blessings and all your support, we are completing 2 years in another, 10 days. So first of all, we would like to thank all of you for your continuous support. While 2 years has been an online session for all of you, we have been doing this, me and Vijay have been doing this program for 6 years now. And by August, yes, we will be 7 years old. Again, thank you all for your support and your blessings. With all this, we are able to walk ahead, move on in life. Thank you all. So now we will move on to today's topic, diet and diabetes in India. Okay, so whenever we meet a doctor, if we have a non-communicable disease, it could be a hypertension, or it could be your diabetes or cholesterol or a heart issue. The first thing they say is 3 important steps. One is your medicine, second is your diet, and third is your exercise. So physical activity, diet and exercise, diet and medicine play a very important role in managing any kind of a lifestyle disorder that we are facing today. So to eat is a necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. Today we have Sudha ma'am with us to teach us how to eat intelligently. We are given a wide variety of food, and it's not just a wide variety of food that we have in front of us. We have a lot of messages as well, going on in our social media as to what to eat, what not to eat. Everybody becomes an expert if you have your phone in hand, right? That's how easily misinformations are being passed on. So the right way to learn what to eat and what not to eat is what we are going to learn today. It is actually said that approximately 80% of heart diseases, stroke, and type 2 diabetes can be avoided if you have regular physical activity, eat a healthy diet, and avoidance of tobacco. So these 3 things play a very important role in the prevention. But what we instead do, we wait for it to happen and then we start acting. So let us act before it strikes us. That is very important to us. So nutrition being very important, today we have selected this topic. And so far, many have messaged and asked us about, having a nutritionist counseling and all that. So today we are very happy to have Sudha ma'am with us to talk about diet and diabetes in India. Over to you, Vijay.
Yes. So today we have with us Mrs. Sudha Vasudevan. She is a senior scientist and head of the Department of Food Nutrition and Dietetic Reseach of Madras Dietetics Research Foundation, Chennai. With experience of more than 40 years as a clinical dietitian and as a teaching faculty in national and international institutions, she is one of the key team members of the promotion of Dr. Mohan's brown rice, development of Dr. Mohan's Atlas Indian Foods, and Epidemiological the nutrition software. Additionally, she is actively involved in translating food and nutrition findings to evidence-based products and services to benefit the community at large. She is also the principal investigator and co-principal investigator for 20 national and international scientific projects. She has peer-reviewed over 90 publications of national and international journals and chapters in textbooks. So it is our pleasure to have her present with us today. Something special we noticed about her intentions while conversing with her is that not only does she wish for her work to succeed as a business, right? She is also passionate about spreading her knowledge about diets and nutrition to everyone. She wants to empower her fellow clients with the knowledge they require to be the best, healthiest versions of themselves. Prepare yourselves for a truly one-of-a-kind session with our one and only Mrs. Sudha Vasudevan. Over to you, Mrs. Sudha Vasudevan, ma'am.
Wow, thank you very much. I'm overwhelmed with the kind words of introduction. Vijay, thank you, Sunanda and Vijay. I'm very delighted to be part of this growing young group and happy to present our evidences about this. And very good morning. I heard a lot of good morning to growing young ladies and gentlemen, and of course, good evening to others. And I hope my talk doesn't take you all to good night and put you off to sleep. So I'll see to that you're all up and actively listening. So I'll just start sharing without wasting much of time, I'll get into the topic today. And I'll just share the screen. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, yes, Sudha, ma'am.
I'll just change it to slide mode. Slide. Yeah. Actually speaking, diet and diabetes, it's not that diabetes alone needs a lot of diet. That's again, many people think only of all what Sunanda said, non-communicable. So that's why we are here to communicate about these diseases. So it is like heart disease, cancer, anything that is chronic, the disease doesn't appear overnight. Such diseases are called non-communicable. And since I happen to specialize in diabetes in our institute, Dr. Mohan's Diabetes Specialities Center, head office in Gopalapuram, I've taken through diabetes evidence. So my entire talk presentation, the dietary principles and our evidence are overlapping with heart disease and diabetes. They are so interrelated. We even call it in a scientific way as cardiometabolic risk factors. So I'm going to speak about the diet and diabetes and what we eat currently today to the evidence, what we eat today, how good or bad, an assessment and an evaluation. So let us start with what we eat. This is a very interesting Swiggy statistics. It gives you Eatetics and Statetics. So what did India eat in 2019? Of course, before COVID itself, you could see that they claim that almost 35,000 biryanis, the circle ones, they sold every minute. There is a most ordered food. You can see chicken biryani, masala dosa, and 95 biryanis were ordered every minute. So in fact, they suggest that national food should be a biryani. Okay, and they talk about the kuch meeta to ho jaye, and this is amount of sweets, and they deliver foods to 530 plus cities. They are ready to go into any rural area, but I'm sure they will do it. So you might wonder, what does it tell you? What did India eat in today? As a result of what we are eating, all of these foods, which are calorie-dense foods, and even today, there's a WhatsApp going viral about biryani map of India. There's no place in India without biryani. You have different varieties of biryani, a diverse culture and the cuisine that we have. As a result today, the way we eat today, this is what India traditionally known in the global map. If you take from your great-grandfather's time, we were known for hunger, poverty, malnutrition. Now we have become a malnutrition. So there is every city has got mall and a food court. From mal, we have gone to malnutrition. It's so interesting. It's very paradigm and ironical. When 1990, the environment full of electronic gadgets was so fat, but the man you can see, it was so thin. Today, the whole concept has changed. We are looking for everything a slim and thin technology, possibly perhaps because we could not do anything to reduce ourselves and we wanted the environmental to be very thin. So we are looking for a slim mobile phone, thin TV, smart TV, everything so light in weight, we are looking at it. This is what has happened. So as a result, you see that the lifestyles have changed. The technology has introduced us to become more slave to the technology. And we are looking for these kind of luxuries. Even when there's a staircase in metros, in most of the metros in Chennai or any of the metro city, you find people opt to go into this escalator and not to use this. So our lifestyles are getting changed. So in fact, it's declared that obesity due to the death rate due to obesity is overtaking even cigarette smoking. Even sitting is more deadlier than if you sit for continuous hour, is worse than the harmful effect you get from chain smoking. So these are the typical trend that we see today. Currently, India is undergoing. And this is an estimate 2008, I'm showing. Even 2016, the government of India has got a similar scenario where it has gone from 63 to 66%. And it says 2/3 of death in India are due to non-communicable diseases like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and injury, and so on. And diseases due to undernutrition like poverty, hunger, we have still not got over, but the deaths are far less when you compare to non-communicable diseases. So this is really worrisome in our country. And taking a classic example of one of the NCDs is diabetes. In 2000, India had only, this is the y-axis shows persons with only 32 million people we had in 2000 with diabetes in the country, 41 million, say 51 million. So year after year we have progressed, and now they are estimating by 2030, we would go up to more than 101 million, but now we are somewhere around 77 million in 2022, another 8 years. So what exactly is, even at this stage, we could still prevent the excess happening. That is why we call it, that is a preventable diabetes. So through my talk presentation, I'm going to share with you some of the dietary tips and of course, the gross physical activity tips, how one can improve their lifestyle and prevent diabetes if they are at risk for diabetes. Now, there are simple 5 steps to prevent diabetes. The foundation for all is the food we eat. Of course, diet is a basic necessity, but you must know what to eat and how to eat and where and when to eat. So what we eat, normally there is an adage saying, we are as what we eat. Now, actually, that should change to, we are as not only what we eat, but what we do not eat also impacts our health. That's why the healthy diet today is, there are many good things about food which we do not eat adequately, and which there are bad things which we should eat less adequately, we are doing more adequately, the opposite. So the healthy diet is no doubt a good foundation. Then increase your physical activity, that is number 2. If you do 1 and 2 will add up to 3, you will automatically maintain ideal body weight. And of course, the stress reduction, let's manage with the scope of positive and negative stress. The negative stress today predominantly is an aggravator. It doesn't cause by itself. And that's why it is an aggravator. We must reduction. And very importantly, especially in the Indian context, we have a notorious cultural habit to go for any health checkup, be it a doctor or see doctor, only when we get problems. We think only when symptoms comes, when there is a problem, why should I go for a regular health checkup to see how good I am? The problem with diabetes is such a silent. You may be living, one may be living with diabetes without even realizing. So regular screening is very important. It is important to go for a health checkup to get a certificate. Oh, good you are. So it is like celebrating your health every year, like your birthday. So that is why the screening regular intervals, and many people take it in a negative sense. Oh, it is all a money-making business. All master health checkup is wrong. You can go for a very basic, important test to get it tested, so that especially when you come from a family history of diabetes and you know you are gaining weight and your occupation demands more of sitting work and less of physical activity environment you are living, I think it's important that you go for a regular checkup. That itself can alert you to start your healthier lifestyles at an early age. It's like a calling bell. We don't keep the doors open. Somebody rings a bell, we open. So this screening is like a calling bell that will help you to go for a health checkup. Now, coming to the foundation, throughout the world, the diet eating pyramid, there is from Harvard School of Work. We collaborate very closely with Harvard School of Public Health in US. And this Walter Willett, he has developed a pyramid program. And they say that your first foundation, even before your diet, is your daily exercise and manage your weight. And you must have more servings of whole grains. I'm going to talk about it in my subsequent slides. And one should take healthy oils. Again, I'll be talking about. And this should be in all the meals, you must have this. And then eat enough fruits and vegetables and nuts and legumes or pulses and pyramids. As you grow in the tip of the pyramid, the most unhealthy choices are listed in the pyramid. So the least amount they recommend to use is our regular white rice that we use today, and the white bread, potatoes, sweets, all of them used sparingly. Whether we are educated or non-educated, urban person or rural person, rich or poor, if you try to fit all of our diets the way into the pyramid, I'm sure you will agree with me, knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, unconsciously, all of us are eating today an inverted pyramid. So we have lost our balance with a healthy diet. What we are supposed to eat the most, we eat the least, we eat the most. Like white rice, that becomes a cereal staple today. Either you buy basmati rice, parboiled rice, raw rice, all rice are polished, which are all white rice equivalent. And the bread, which is all highly processed food. So this is what is an inverted pyramid we are in. So now I'm going to tell you, you might wonder, why are we eating like this? With the knowledge, with the internet, with the Google Dada, we all have it. Why are we eating? So I'm going to share with you what is wrong in eating white rice more, potatoes more. What is wrong? That makes me feel good. Why not? Many may wonder. So I'm going to share with some of our evidence from the research findings, which we have published in the scientific journals. So I've divided my evidence into two sections. First section, we call it scientifically as epidemiological evidence, meaning we do a population-based research on the population eating habits, not on one individual or two individuals. It is a representative population-based data, and through which we assess their dietary habits. We even draw blood, we collect a lot of medical data, and then do an analysis to see what foods are associated with the risk for diabetes. This is the first. So we have many publications. Out of those 90, I have quite a number from this. So I'm just sharing to you. These are all the peer-reviewed scientific journals. So we come with the evidence-based approach to tell you. So this is from a Chennai urban-rural epidemiological study. We have taken, this is the red one is all about the urban component. Wherever you see the green bar, it is all the rural eating habits. So the rural was around the Chunampet area near Pondicherry, Puducherry, and the urban is the Chennai city, the metro city. We have taken from 26,000 representative across all zones of Chennai, not from one southern Chennai or northern. It is all a stratified sampling. And you can see on my top graph, this is the total calories what we eat, both in urban and rural, are about 2,000. Today, the government of India has come out with a recommendation according to the physical activity, what one should be eating. So if you see that, we are little on the excess side. And if you see the protein, 9.6% of the total calories only come from protein for rural, which is much, much lower. And for urban also, it is around 11% of the total calories. And fat, what we are eating is 24%, which is pretty much within the recommendation. And rural eat far less amount of calories coming from fatty foods and our oil sources. Whereas the carbohydrates, which is the bulk of the calories in rural, almost 78%, 80% of the food what rural India eats comes from carbs, whereas the urban consumes around 64%. Now, if I had to divide, which are the food sources contributing this calorie, that tells you what we eat, So this is the 46.9%, let's say almost half of the calories that we eat come from refined cereals. What are those refined cereals that I'm talking about? Are the polished white rice, raw, parboiled, basmati, all of them are maida-based products or suji, rava-based, and the bakery product, the white bread, and all of them which is made out of maida. That is what is making our half of a calorie. And the second main calorie that comes from our food is our cooking oil. So I'm going to focus and show you evidence about these two occupies almost our 2/3 of a calorie. And this is about Chennai data. The so-called the good whole grains, instead of refined, what we are consuming is far contributing only less than 1% of our Chennai adult calories as well as rural calories. In terms of grams, as you can see, the green bar tells you where the rural India eats more than the urban, which is the refined cereals. Even they get to eat the same white rice polished and like urban, and the way they eat is much higher in terms of salt, and we eat far less fruits and vegetables. Urban eat 265, and the rural eats much lesser. These are all the published data that tells you that we are eating far in excess of unhealthy carbohydrate calories. Why are we eating? You might wonder. This is what we get. That's what I said, either educated or uneducated, literate, illiterate, rural, urban, women, man, child, adult. All of us eat because that is what is available in the market. We regularly keep doing this Chennai market last 20 years, almost 20 years we have been doing. It is not progressed any better at all, though the awareness is high, better now, but still 80% of the market foods, either you go to supermarket or your grocery store, wherever the food processed foods are available, you will read the first two ingredients will be starting with any form of starch or sugary foods. Healthy foods are less than 5%. So the bulk of the availability of foods in the market today is very, very misleading. Some of them are not healthy, but they have a false claim, so on, which I'm going to show you some of our evidences on that as well. So this is where the problem now. What is wrong with eating white rice and these highly polished carbohydrate foods? And these carbohydrate foods are the primary driver for blood glucose, blood sugar. So like a car, you have a speedometer that tells you at what speed the car goes. The same way, the food speedometer of carbohydrate, which is the main driver for blood sugar, is measured a tool called glycemic index. So we are the only one in the country we are validated with ISO protocol and with the international laboratory. And we regularly do for all the food industry for various projects and the market foods, their speed. So if we try to substitute all the glycemic index of every food we eat, breakfast or lunch, whichever contains carbohydrate, glycemic index applies only to assess the quality of carbohydrate source in the food. So internationally it says if you drink pure glucose drink, like a glucon-D drink, you dissolve it in water and drink, the speed in which it hits the blood sugar is 100. That is set to a scale. In that relative scale, if any food you eat equal amount of carbs coming from glucose equal to this food, and if its speed is only less than 55, it's a healthy, low glycemic index food. If the food raises the speed, it gets digested and raises the blood glucose only to speed of 56 to 69, then it is medium, and greater or equal to 70 is high glycemic index food choices. And if such a high glycemic index food choice belongs to the rice, and on top of that, there's a high-speed food, and you eat like heaps and heaps of rice, more serving, lot of quantity. So the high-speed food and eating so much of carbs from there, that leads to glycemic load, which is very high for a high GA food. So the international classification says per day, one should aim for less than 80. It is next to impossible. We are struggling to bring down the Indian diet less than 80. We are trying to bring it even towards 120. It's a struggle. The proof of the pudding here on my bottom of the slide, you can see the left side from an urban component of the same cure study, the women and men, both the entire day's glycemic index and load, look at the load, 277 and 76 is almost 2XL. We are consuming 2 extra large glycemic load diets. Even the urban and rural is no different on the right-hand side. So either it's urban and rural, we are eating far in excess carbohydrate. On top of that, our choices of carbohydrate foods are high speed, quickly digesting, quickly raising blood sugar, not only for people with diabetes, anybody who eats high GA food is quickly raising blood glucose, all get converted to fat, and that is why we all have an abdominal. Any Indian can see that mother cartoon is drawing. Even a thin person will have a tummy. It's a typical Asian Indian phenotype, we call it, with an abdominal obesity. So eating excess carbohydrates can be fattening. Okay, now what is wrong with eating such high carbohydrate content and the quality? As you can see on the left top, those who consume these refined grains like white rice, least amount are least risk prone compared to those who eat the most. Look at the risk. There's an odds ratio, we call it in a scientific term. It tells you that almost 2-fold increased risk for diabetes. You are inviting diabetes by eating more such refined grains. And metabolic syndrome, MS degree, it's like getting a visa status, not an MS degree, to go abroad for a visa status. If you eat more rice, you are becoming more and more eligible to get an MS, metabolic syndrome, cluster of risk factors like abdominal obesity, good cholesterol going down, bad cholesterol going up, blood pressure, and all of these are they're all cousins, first cousins and twin brothers and so on. They all invite the trouble of diabetes much more quickly. So with the metabolic syndrome, it's almost 8-fold increase. For diabetes is 2-fold, those who consume far in excess amount. And we followed the same urban population from 2003 to 2013, same individual, same household. We went back to the same adults to redo the dietary habits survey, and we still found out those who consume 374 grams, something like 60% of calories coming from white rice, they've got a higher risk. And this is the white rice is a green line, and 2.5-fold increase of risk for diabetes. And first time we brought the note in our country, a data, those who consume out of your total calorie, more than 5% of sugar added in your coffee and tea or preparation. Many of the processed food has got hidden sugar, which we do not even know to read them. And that itself can be a risk increasing factor for our diabetes. So I'm going to talk about the sugars during the question answer session. And so not only the diabetes risk, the cousins of diabetes who are going to push diabetes to appear fast are your body mass index, BMI, and your waist circumference. See, those who consume from 218 has a least BMI and least waist of 80.5. Those who consume the highest has got highest body mass index. So these evidence clearly tells you that eating too much of refined grains like maida, suji or rava, or the white rice-based products, most of our tiffin items today, idli, those are all are made out of that. I'm going to talk about that a little soon, what's wrong in eating white rice versus dosa, idli, and so on. So this is, and this carbohydrates, as I told you a little while ago, that can pull down your good cholesterol on my right-hand side of the graph. You can see both for women and men, the HDL is supposed to be the good cholesterol. It is a cleaner of the artery, the blood vessel. And if you consume highest quintile or highest intake of glycemic load from this unhealthy carbs, the good cholesterol level, see the overall from 41, it dropped to 37. Same trend for men in red line and green for women. So by eating more unhealthy carbs, we are making our good cholesterol, which is heart disease preventive, we are making it come down. And as I told you, not only the quantity of carbohydrates, even the GI, glycemic index quality, and the combination is GL, all the three, green, purple, indigo, if you consume high, it all shows the highest risk for diabetes. Now, how much is preventable? Rightly, Sunanda said that it is evident from our own study we did from 10 years, we followed up Chennai urban adults, and we found had our Chennai urban adults had paid attention to these 5 factors in life, we could have helped them prevent diabetes. 80% of the diabetes we have today in Chennai city is unwanted, could have been erased off. So if you can't prevent all the 5 factors, obesity, physical inactivity, and unfavorable diet risk score, we combined unhealthy food eating habits and assigned a score value, club it together, call a unfavorable risk score, and high triglyceride and the good cholesterol, which I showed you before, this explained. Suppose you can't manage all, at least try for 2 risk factors. You can still, 50% of prevention is possible with your good diet and physical activity. At least take care of 1 factor, at least diet alone. I have no energy for exercise. At least pay attention to what you eat. You can still manage to prevent 30% of your chances of getting a diabetes. Now, this followed up, you might be thinking, aren't we eating any good food at all? Does it mean that everything what we're eating is bad? No, we have got evidence to show what are the opposite healthy food choices on the left. So the foods that decrease risk of diabetes, as you can see, the dal, pulses and legumes, milk and milk products, the dairy, definitely if you consume higher the amount, and fruits and vegetables, these are the good ones. Those who consume highest on my left bar, you can see the least risk for diabetes. On the other side, as I shown you before, white rice, even the fat and oil you consume more, added salt you consume more, sugar you consume more, animal foods you consume more, unhealthy choices, they all take you to the flight path of higher. So one is the landing score, eat healthy foods to be on the ground with less disease. Another one will take you, make you fly high with all possible. You buy one, get 2 free. You buy diabetes, you get blood pressure free, you get high cholesterol free, and so on. So the choice is ours, how smartly we go and fill our plate. not only from our country, we are part of a 21 largest study in the world called Prospective Urban-Rural Epidemiology called PURE study, 21 countries, both developed countries and developing countries. Recently, we are one of the centers, Dr. Mohan's name will be there, Vishwanathan Mohan. There again, they have shown higher consumption. It does not mean that one should give up eating white rice. It only tells you how smartly you limit your portion. Do not go to the extremity. People go from all or none law. So higher consumption of white rices, that's what I've underlined, is associated with increased risk of diabetes. With all over the 21 countries, we have shown the data. So it is 100% convincing. Unhealthy foods, limit as much as possible. Like white rice, do not overdo in eating so much. So the next nutrient, what we are eating, the bulk calories, I told you, second one is our cooking oil. This is a total calories coming from various food sources of fat. As you can see, almost half of the fat calories in our diet, 53.3%, comes from the edible cooking oil that we use in our diet, day-to-day cooking. The second major source is from the milk, and then the nut and animal foods contribute very little fat calories in our diet. So this again from a same urban component of the CURE study. And in 2003, we asked the people, what is the most main cooking oil that you use and how many liters you buy and various food. And we know that almost bulk of our Chennai adults buy sunflower oil in 2003. Even in 2013, the trend remains the same. People started giving up on our traditional oils like groundnut oil and gingerly oil. And of course, the palm olein is distributed in the ration. It is the second. So we have shown those who opted to use sunflower oil are at twice the risk to get the metabolic syndrome or all the metabolic risk factor clustered compared to those who use the traditional oils. We have moved away from our traditional practices and caught up with some modern trend, thinking that sunflower. This is a problem with the cut, copy, paste. We borrow what is applicable for an American, they would have announced, and we copy, paste. Maybe for an American, replace the animal fat, they use the lard and heavily the animal fat. For them, it is good to use oil like plant oil, like sunflower, to replace the saturated unhealthy fat. But for us, we have already been consuming good oil. Now, because America started using sunflower oil, we moved away to that, giving up a good quality oil. It is not going to do good in our diet. As a result, I have to teach you a little bit about oil is made up of many fatty acids. Like how I said, quality of carbohydrate, the speedometer, glycemic index. Fat is assessed by its quality. It has got 3 or 4 types of fatty acids. One is the saturated. That means any oil at room temperature, it becomes solid. That is like a coconut oil and like butter or ghee. They all contain unhealthy saturated fatty acid proportions very high. And any oil that remains oil that are unsaturated. Again, under unsaturated, we have monounsaturated, which is the MUFA, we call it, that is healthy fat, and the polyunsaturated fatty acid, which is the little bit of unhealthy. That is what our evidence showing for Indians. We are yet to confirm that through a clinical trial study. The trial just got over. We are yet to get the data. So, but it definitely tells you, like sunflower oil, which has got the unhealthy PUFA, N6 PUFA. So far, we feel it is unhealthy. And because we cook and heat the oil, had we been pouring the sunflower oil on a salad, probably it is uncooked of sunflower oil. We don't heat it. Probably it could have been better. But we use it for heating, either for your stir frying like mustard splatter or your deep frying. Minimum temperature we needed is 180. The moment you heat oil like sunflower oil, the goodness of the sunflower oil becomes bad and they all become very pro-inflammatory. As a result, our balance of this N6 PUFA and N3 is a long, good fatty acid like a fish fatty acid oil. They are going haywire. Government of India recommends our N6 PUFA and N3 PUFA to be within the 10 ratio because we have moved to very high N6 oils like safflower, sunflower. I'm going to show you the healthy oil. Then you will understand better. It is not going to help us at all. It's going to increase the risk. And now we have a double food fault, not a food fault. It is our food faults. One is we are picking a wrong unhealthy oil and a wrong grain. So unhealthy grain and unhealthy oil is synergistically trigger higher risk for diabetes than those who opt less amount of unhealthy grain they eat and buy a good amount of healthy oil. And compared to them, we are at a double the risk. The rural scenario is no different. Same, they also use a lot of sunflower in the Tamil Nadu. So you find the same metabolic syndrome factors like abdominal obesity or waistline. So it is longer the belt, the shorter the life, and hypertension, blood pressure, and impaired fasting blood glucose. Early morning fasting itself is higher. That tells you how even the unhealthy oil can also trigger pro-inflammation to impact your blood glucose level. These are all published findings. And as I told you now, I've given you enough introduction about the fat. So now we have taken out one, we did a study about the type of oil. Now we are taking, irrespective of which oil it is coming, so we should know how much of saturated fat, MUFA or PUFA. Is it proving that MUFA is healthier? As we have shown evident, this saturated fat. Now there's a lot of story. Oh, coconut oil is good, virgin coconut oil. There's a lot on the social media. But for us Indians, saturated fat, higher the amount, is definitely unhealthy. See, the risk is twice, is the diabetes risk. Whereas the good MUFA, monounsaturated fatty oil, which are traditional oils like mustard oil, groundnut oil, and gingerly oil, they all have good amount of monounsaturated. See, they reduce the risk. That's why the blue bar is lesser. And the more you use, that risk is lesser compared to those who consume the least. And PUFA compared to those who consume the least, why pink, this is oil like sunflower, which has got this PUFA, the risk goes up. So the oil, what we have seen before in my earlier slide, and now what I'm showing, the quality of fatty acids coming from these oils is clearly saying these saturated fatty acids unhealthy, and good fat like MUFA is good and PUFA. So this makes you wonder, what is the really good cooking oil? So I know that, how do we decide? A simple answer to cut the long story short, there is no single perfect oil in the market till date. So you can see in my disease slide, I want you to focus any column, all columns filled with green color font indicates a healthy oil, a clue. And the column which has got the rows and column, which has got more red fonts, tells you they are not so healthy. So the so-called people taught about olive oil because it's high in MUFA. Yes, it's very good, but it's not a perfect oil. We need N3 also. Olive oil does not have. Our diets are very low in omega-3 or N3 polyunsaturated fatty acid, which is mainly present in fatty fish or some of these nuts and seeds, So we consume far less in our diet. So olive oil is definitely not a healthy oil at all for us Indians in our current Indian diet. Maybe for a Mediterranean diet, it is good because they consume enough N3 source like fatty fish, nuts, and so on. And look at the mustard oil. It has got almost most of the component good. It has got higher amount. It has got lesser saturated fat. It has also got some amount of omega-3. Can you see that? So this is the mustard oil, which is definitely better than olive oil. Why should one pay through higher price to buy olive oil when our regular mustard oil can give you much better benefit than using olive oil? And there's one canola oil, which is genetically modified, but it's been approved. And this has got a very well balanced of all the components. That's why I highlighted in green. If you get it in your place, wherever you are, it's definitely worth using that oil. And our own traditional oil. There are so many blended oils. They're all blended oils. None of them have got a proof evidence to have a good mix of all these saturated low, MUFA high, PUFA total medium, and N6 should be lower and N3 should be higher. This thoughtful, not a single oil has got, be blended or a traditional. So why not? Why pay more money and buy another expensive oil? Rather use our own gingerly or sesame oil and our rice bran oil. They all have good amount of MUFA. So we don't have to move to sunflower and safflower, which are high in sex oil. Now, the next story, the good food, what we are supposed to eat the most, we are eating the least, is the fruits and vegetables. So World Health Organization recommends 5 serves or 80 grams. One katori of vegetable is roughly cooked as 80 grams. 5 such katoris or You can have 2 katoris of vegetable, 3 serves of 80 grams of fruits. 400 grams is the minimum we need to have. Those who consume more fruits and veggies definitely are slimmer and have a smaller waist, as is evident in the top of the graph from our urban component of cure study. And those who consume more fruit and vegetables have a bad cholesterol, LDL, is also much lower. And unfortunately, our average intake is only around 250 to 300 grams. We are eating less fruits and vegetables. Even historically, we have been eating, we blame reason. It's very expensive and not organic. And we caught up with a lot of things to tell excuses for not eating. It's just dirty. Green leafy vegetables comes with a lot of mud, no time, busy women. I don't have time for cutting and so many things. That's all the way forward for excuse to avoid fruit and vegetable. We must include more fruits and vegetable. Now the salt is another cousin of twin brother of diabetes. And this very, very shocking news when we did the urban study. The government of India says healthy recommendation is only 1 teaspoon of salt per adult per family. You just multiply the amount of salt you use. Of course, we eat a lot of meals outside. We buy a lot of processed food. This is, you're cooking alone, you add salt. And on table, some people have the habit of adding salt to a curd rice or soup and salads and so on. And this is what only 20% of Chennai adults are consuming 4.9 grams. 80% of the Chennai adults are consuming far in excess. And you can see people who added salt on the table. No added salt, people have lesser percentage of people with blood pressure here. Whereas here you can see with more salt, the blood pressure is also very high. Percentage of people with blood pressure. Those who added table salt, more than 1 teaspoon on table, like adding curd rice, buttermilk, soup, salads, and adding salty foods. You know, these blood pressure rates are very, very high. Now, this comes from the population studies so far, our evidence. Now, from the population evidence, we get a cue. Then we further do a very controlled clinical trial, and both food-based clinical trial and the intervention-based clinical trial. First, we found out what are the commonest rice varieties from southern region. So we picked up the most popular rice varieties in Tamil Nadu, Ponni, and Karnataka, Sona Masuri, and in Maharashtra, Gujarat, and this part they have Shruti Kolam. And what we noticed, we did a glycemic index. Is it really that bad? The red line, all the 3 graphs indicates about if you drink pure glucose, the speed in which it raises the blood glucose is this line. And the way the same carbs we found out eating Sona Masuri plain cooked rice. See, look at how close to the glucose. No wonder they are all high glycemic, unhealthy white rice choices that we eat. So today the technology, the food industry say that's what people wanted. People are looking for a thin rice, long, thin. We are making the rice thin. And eating this thin rice, we are becoming fat. So people like the rice to become Miss Rice and Mrs. Rice of the country. And we are gaining more fatter and fatter. Instead of eating a fat rice like this, we are polishing it. We are removing all the goodness of the layer, keeping only starch. This white polished rice contains no vitamins, no appreciable minerals, no fiber. It has got only mainly predominant starch. Now, what is the alternative? So the alternative definitely is the brown rice. Many don't even realize what is brown rice. They all thought Kerala red rice is a brown. The brown word does not mean the color. It only means the woody part of the bran is included. So this will look like a beige color. This is brown rice. Brown rice is not a variety. Any variety of rice which is not polished rice look like this. If it is unpolished, it is called brown rice. So what we did in this experiment, we picked up one Bapatla of Andhra Pradesh rice variety, and we have taken that rice. Unpolished version is called brown rice. When we did the glycemic index, its glycemic index is medium J, not even low, because it has to cook to make it edible. It takes longer time to cook and chewy. So it is 58. And we did like a hand pounded rice, minimally polished. Some amount of bran is removed, which is what is called hand pounded rice. Those days they did with the mortar and pestle or in a under milled rice. Even then you can see the glycemic index jumped from here to high GA category. Then further polished it. This is what the silky ponni or a polished white rice you get. Is the speed is almost 80%. So today people think that many product, they labeled it as hand-pounded brown rice. The word is wrong. Brown rice cannot be hand-pounded. Even we never had technology to remove like a peel of a fruit, only the husk, and that technology came only from 1970s. So our ancestor ate hand-pounded rice only, but we did good amount of exercise. Today, with our technology and matching with the lifestyle, a sedentaryism, we are not qualified to eat neither white rice nor the hand-pounded rice. We must opt for a whole grain brown rice, which either basmati or Sona Masuri brown rice, Kerala red rice, it should be called as a red brown rice. Even today, the Kerala red rice undergoes polish. The red color and black color of the rice is due to the polyphenols, we call it. It's a pigmented rice, like beetroot has got a red color. That kind of a pigmented rice is red and black rice. Even they are polished. So one should look for, I'll show you the images subsequent slide, how to identify the genuine brown rice in the market. This is how a brown rice, we showing you the scanning electron microscope. See, look at the glossy, shiny appearance. You will see the tip, the germ. This is a brown rice. The moment you hand pound it or minimally polish it, it lost its glossiness. It's become, you can see some places the bran is scratched. You can see the bran layer is scratched, and that some places the tip germ is lost. If it is highly polished, there is no beige or the bran at all here. It's very translucent. And we have enlarged it here to show here there is a germ present. This is the germ magnification I'm showing you, glossy, see, smooth surface. So when you buy from the market, the brown rice, there is a small window. Look for this glossiness of the color. And if it is minimally or completely polished, you will not have this sheen of glossiness. That shows is a genuine brown rice. Now, the problem with us is we all eat rice as in the rice form only in one meal. Our breakfast and dinner, either rice or a wheat or a millet, we consume mostly in a form of a roti as a flour form or a batter like dosa, uttapam, idiyappam, all of those as a flour form. The moment you grind them and you see this is the GI of all our commonest consumed uttapam, khichdi, upma, idli, dosa, pongal, and what the two circles are marked, if you cook them as a rice as such, the brown rice is medium and the white rice itself shows much higher. Even when you add more fat and more dal in idli dosa, it comes down, but nothing like a sambar rice with the addition of vegetables and dal, it is further lower. So if you tell you, even in the brown rice, the moment you grind the brown rice and make it into batter or flour form, the glycemic index goes up. So the important message is whole grain, we have to have an intact grain. It's like a fishing net. When you buy a fish net, your purpose is to catch fish. It may weigh 5 kilos or 10 kilos. And you use them as a holistic whole net, you can catch fish. The moment you cut fishing net into pieces and you weigh them, it may still weigh the same 5 and 10, but you cannot catch fish. So the same reason, the fiber has to be intact in the outer layer, bran, and the starch inside. So it will slow down the digestion, and the speed in which it raises the blood glucose will be much lower. The moment you cut them and grind them, fiber will be in some place bran and starch will be someplace, it get digested much more quicker. So what we thought, because brown rice has got challenges with, it takes like a chana cooking, 8 whistles in a pressure cooker, and some elderly may find it difficult to chew because of its fiber. So we developed a product called poha, brown rice flakes. We just pressed it. You can see the enlarged image here. We sell it through our outlet, Dr.Mohan's in our supply stores. And it is a small expanded. When you buy a regular commercial white rice flakes, we call it aval in Tamil or poha in Hindi. See, look at how they are gelatinized. What your stomach and intestine do to digestion, it is already done by machine outside. So it has got no business to go slowly into the GI tract, gastrointestinal tract. It's like a pre-digested food, So it hits very quickly like a glucose raises. So we again did the GI and we brought down the brown rice flakes to a medium GI like a brown rice. So this kind of products are needed. So now we are pleading with food industry to come up with the intact brown rice based products so that people start making idli dosa out of those proven good healthy grain products. Now, another reason you might think glycemic index, we measure it only first 2 hours. If I continue to eat in all 3 meals such healthy foods like brown rice based products, what I showed you earlier, and the white rice. The red line tells you about the white rice. This is a continuous glucose monitoring study. We attach a small sensor on the hip patch and we give them unlimited amount volunteers can eat, either white rice, brown rice, legume. The same volunteer, we made them eat all the three. As you can see, the red line is a white rice showed most of the time highest peaks of blood glucose. And whereas you can see the blue is the brown rice and black is a brown rice with the whole legume. Like idli has got black udud instead of white udud dal or a black gram dal. So that kind of a thing. We found both of them are excellently good. You can see the area under the curve, we call it, which measures the area, and white rice makes a large surge compared to brown rice and brown rice based products. And even fasting insulin levels, this was done with overweight obese adults volunteers, and we found a significant reduction. Definitely merit the brown rice based diet or a whole grain based diet is definitely useful. And this is what the problem with all of us when we go to the market. So many advertisements, so many brands. There is a product label called semi-brown rice, dia rice. Every product is stigmatized with a person with diabetes, diabetic rice, diabeto rice, dia rice, basmati rice, low J. Look at now, you're all empowered. You yourself can tell me, does it has a good whole grain? Is it polished, unpolished? Now you all have become masters to tell how they claim. Red Puttu rice, Kerala rice, they all come with the claim of low GA, all of them. No scientific evidence. So this is where now Government of India is making an effort through Food Standard Safety Authority, but it's a huge task for them to start evaluating this rice because glycemic index can be measured only need real foods and real human intestine. So it's a clinical, very expensive trial. So hence it is expensive. Many are not able to do. They simply claim with the addition of some and removal of some, they claim it as a low GI rice. Now the millet mania is so much so in the media and everyone. So thinks millets are very good. So millets are definitely a nutritious grain. They are environmental friendly. They do not guzzle a lot of water for cultivation. And definitely, we first started with the ragi finger millet. It's a strong belief ragi is good for people with diabetes. Finger millet, ragi or nachni, they call it in Marathi. So this is what people think. But we notice when ragi as such a whole grain is inedible, you have to partially mill it. The GI is 85%. The moment you make a poha, it's still high. So what we did is, since we wanted to promote millets because of the vitamins, minerals, and other good fiber they have, we added some extra fiber and we're able to bring down the GI to medium. Lot more research is needed. On the right-hand side, we evaluated all our traditional millet roti, like jowar roti, bajra roti, makki ki roti. Even today, you get in the market little millet, foxtail millet, and all our foods. You can see the red color is all high-speed foods. The medium ones are very few, possibly because we add oil, and the low ones are all our pulses. Like chickpeas, our chenna, whole red or white chenna, Kabuli or brown, or the vatana, all our pulses and legumes are definitely a healthier choice. Today, the millets available in the market, polished or unpolished, most of them are high-speed because the millet starch is like a talcum powder. It's a very small seed. So there is a lot of millet does not have a good quality starch. It's got a poor quality starch. So we wanted to prove that people think that ragi is good. We did a study, the same sensor based, 24 hours. We fed them under our controlled feeding for 5 days. The blue is ragi and the red is white. Red line is white rice. So polished white rice and the unpolished finger millet ragi are one and the same. It is no difference. So eating white rice and ragi, no difference. So ragi is not a superfood for people with diabetes. And another sad story again in the market, unpolished, the brown version of the whole grain millet should look like this. Be barnyard, foxtail, kodo, proso, and little. But today the market samples are all highly polished. It's going to be worse than white rice, millets, because the starch is much more finer. So the larger, the finer the particle size, larger the surface area and gets digested quickly. Now the next myth, I'm talking about all the myths people have. Cashew nut. People thought nuts are not good at all. They are very high in fat. They will make me put on weight. They make me worsen my cholesterol. We did the first study in the country, cashew nut for people with diabetes. We have shown a regular consumption of handful of cashew nut will definitely improve your good cholesterol and reduce blood pressure, and it will not rock your body weight at all. Of course, the calories, one handful of nuts gives you 200. You must cut down your starchy meal, maybe one idli, a half cup rice or dosa, or your one full cup, those kind of things. One has to replace carbs with nuts. It is very, very effective. So conclusion, it is one of the leaders in lifestyle disorders. Our country, we have got Mr. Diabetes, Mr. Hypertension, Mr. Heart Attack, everything. India tops the world. We are next to China and India are 1 and 2 rank holders. Hence, early screening is very important. Lifestyle modification, we must be smart and eat smart with colorful food choices. Not only our colorful dresses that we wear, we show our diversity and culture. Indian diet, Indian costumes means only the color comes to the globe. We must also exhibit the same in our plate that we eat. Regular physical activity is a must for a healthy life to maintain. Remember, fatness is not fitness. People, when the kid is born, oh, how chubby cheeks, dimple chin. This nursery rhyme should be stopped. And fatness is not fitness, it's a madness. And 4 golden words: eat less, walk and exercise more is a golden word. So I would like to summarize all about diet. Remember the word aware. First, A stands for you must consciously see whether you are adding quality to diet. What do I mean by quality? Every grain you eat, either 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon, or 1 bowl, it should be from a whole grain intact. There should be enough legumes like rajma, white peas, chickpea, and so on. And good amount of nutrient-rich foods like nuts. Try and introduce 1 handful of nuts as far as possible in an unroasted, unsalted form. Refrain from refined grains. See to that you eat less of this white rice, maida-based products and extra vegetables and fruits. So we believe the problem today is there is a lack of awareness level as a consumer. You are all, not only with you all, even with the agriculture and food industry, even among nutritionists, health professionals, academicians, all of them synergistically have to work together to bring the best. So now today the whole world is full of all possible diets. Now paleo diet, keto diet. So 1930s for diabetes, this exactly the paleo keto diet was there, starvation. They made no carbs at all, only high fat. It was low fat, low carb and high fat diet. And now in 1970s, they introduced high carb, low fat. Now we are talking about keto and paleo. We are getting wishes back to 1930. So we have to think wholesome and holistically and appropriately. So it is a healthy lifestyle, is an arithmetic formula. Please add exercise, the bottommost on the pyramid. And if you add exercise, you are automatically subtracting obesity. You divide your meals and portions, then you will multiply your number of quality years, whatever age you are, with full of life. I would not have been able to present all this without my wonderful team. This is my nutrition team. This is my food analytical. We are the only one in the most in the world, probably I can say, healthcare industry having a pilot plant and a food analytical lab enabled with the able guidance from Dr. Kamala Krishna Swami. She was earlier one of our members, former director from National Institute, Dr. Maleshi from Central Food Technology, Dr. Ganesh Jivan, without whom I would not have been able to present. Thank you one and all, and thank you for my patient listening.
Thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful, informative slides.
One thing that I noticed in all the slides, most of the slides had Sudha ma'am's name. So she is part of almost all the studies that she has shared.
Right.
That is so privileged to have you amongst us to, talk to us about, what is right and what not is right. Okay. So we will now quickly move on to the question session. So there are a lot of questions that were asked to us through WhatsApp. So we will go one by one. So the first question is diabetes reversible? Question by Elizabeth ma'am.
Okay. To answer that, the word reversible is not correct. So it should be called as remission. So reversible makes you feel as though it has been cured, not curable. As you know, diabetes is like you have your ancestral property like an asset. So you've got the genetic genes with you. You cannot dispute it in a court anywhere. That is an immovable property. You have got that genetics, genes. What? It is like being born with a loaded gun, with the genetic tendency. But loaded gun doesn't get fired on its own. The environmental factors are the triggering factors. So what we can help people to keep the diabetes under remission phase where we call people who are diagnosed with diabetes only last 5 years, they are very obese. For people, because of their obesity, they got diabetes and they have poor lifestyle, no time to do walking, exercise, and unhealthy choices. I work a different shift and call center and so on. Such people, we do have hope. There are many studies have done. We can teach them an intensive lifestyle therapy and a behavior therapy, help them to get rid of diabetes or put the diabetes in a silent mode, in a remission mode. But this remission mode will remain as long as one remains with a good healthy lifestyle and loses the body weight and maintain a healthy lifestyle. The problem is with our population, the moment they know that they've lost 20 kilo weights and they started walking, they feel their diabetes disappeared and they think, oh, I've got diabetes out. Now I can enjoy. They're waiting for the day to come. The diabetes disappeared. Come on, chalo, we will celebrate today. Eat 10 gulab jamuns. And for us, unfortunately or fortunately, the two things are wrongly, any celebration means it is only unhealthy foods like chocolates and sweets and mithai. If you take a traditional practice, these unhealthy foods are offered only during prasadam in the temple or in the feast festival days. It used to be, sugar used to be available only through ration at particular time. It was a very restricted commodity. And in a school, the teacher says the child, oh, you've not done the homework, go run 5 rounds of the ground. So the message that we are giving, oh, running is a punishment. Eating chocolates, got first rank chocolate is a reward. This has to change. So we are now living in a mismatched lifestyle today. So hence diabetes remission is possible only with a healthy lifestyle. Diabetes cannot be cured.
Okay. So the next question is by Lakshmi ma'am. So she is asking, what is the optimum reading for HbA1c for those above 65 years?
Okay. It is not only for above 65 years, that cutoff is not come for elderly. For elderly, the doctors only will warn that do not get into very low blood sugar so frequently. Going low blood sugar in elderly is much more fatalistic than having little higher blood sugar. But the aim for a HbA1c for everyone with type 2 diabetes is 7%. So 7% is a good control and 7 to 8% is fair control, and HbA1c greater than 8 is a poor control.
Thank you, ma'am. And the next question is by Resham ma'am. So she wants to know your diet recommendations for a pre-diabetic.
Okay. Now, there is no separate diet for people with the pre-diabetes, people wanted to prevent diabetes, people with type 1 diabetes, people with type 2 diabetes, people with pregnancy getting gestational diabetes, or people with heart disease, people with cancer. The healthy diet is an umbrella term. What I spoke about, the healthy components of whole grains, more fruits and vegetables, choosing a right oil or buying a variety of oil in rotation. These are all the healthy diet component that will helpful for all of them, including pre-diabetic. So if you are a pre-diabetic, first check on your body weight. If you're overweight, definitely reduce the total calories. Unfortunately, none of us are able to count calories. We do not know what the calorie content was. If it is a processed food, it has on the label per serve calories. So it is important to be aware of the food, what we eat, the calories. So there are some good app that comes out with a good calories count. You can check on that. At least 1 week, this is what you eat, the calories. Reduce your portion size. Instead of ordering a large pizza, order a small pizza. That amount of calorie you're saying. Making a big dosa, and your mind tells you for breakfast means I must eat 3 dosa. The count 3 is important, not the size. Then reduce it and make it a smaller 3 dosa. That's why you can cheat your mind. And then you can cut down your calories in that way. These are all the small ways. If you cut down calories and see to that, the problem with our meal, there is no fruit and vegetable going in a breakfast and dinner. So you must see to that your idli or dosa can be stuffed with vegetables, or you must have 1 cup of boiled legumes or chenna in the morning. These are the simple tips you add. I think it's a way for pre-diabetic or diabetic or any chronic diseases, panacea.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Geeta Shrikant, ma'am. Is intermittent fasting helpful in reducing blood sugar level?
So unfortunately, the word that coined intermittent fasting, and I wish they had also put it intermittent fasting and no feasting also. So the problem with intermittent fasting is they have found, some studies have shown 16 hours of fasting, especially our evening biological clock after sunset, the circadian rhythm, it changes differently from after sunset. Probably our ancestors are so wise. They don't eat those days after sunset, And we thought because no electricity, no refrigerator, the food cooked will be spoiled, they were eating. It's not only that, possibly, they are very smarter than us, what we think. We are now in technological era. So this intermittent fasting, if you eat in the window where normally they recommend 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., the problem people should know, the idea behind intermittent fasting is to make a person skip one meal so that that amount of calorie gets cut. Typically, our average Indian meal consists of 500 calories. But our snack alone, like one large samosa, can provide that amount of calories. We have it as a starter for one large samosa to start a dinner meal. So this 500 calories, if you have to save, they started with the intermittent fasting. But the problem, many people, when they go on intermittent fasting, they know, oh, after 6, I have to go on intermittent fasting. Might as well eat pack. I may not get to eat. So they overeat their dinner calories also into their lunch and breakfast, thinking that from night, evening 6 till next day morning 9, I can't eat. I may get bloatedness, I may feel gassy, whatever reason. They add on more calories, then the intermittent fasting won't help at all. So you eat your natural, regular breakfast and lunch with a reduced amount and skip the dinner calories you save. Then for such people, certainly intermittent fasting can help you to lose weight first, which in terms will improve your blood glucose and insulin also. People who are on diabetes with medication doctor given you in the night dose, please take advice from the doctor before you move on to the intermittent fasting. It is wrong to eat tablet in the night for your diabetes and skipping your dinner at all. Then you will hit in the sleep a low blood sugar, very fatalistic.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Satyavani, ma'am. Is honey also a factor for raising sugar levels in type 2 diabetes?
This has become now so popular. We doctors and nutritionists cannot empower population. How the food industry, the magic they do to empower people, and they believe that data more. Like now it has become fashion to say that, oh, I don't drink coffee with white sugar. I take jaggery-based tea. I take palm sugar. In Tamil, they call it karpati. And people say that I add honey. I add all of them are sugar. Anything that tastes in your mouth is sugar. Unfortunately, we measure only blood glucose. So honey has got more fructose, which is another form of sugar. Milk has got galactose in the lactose. That's another form. For diabetes, we measure only blood glucose and manage. People think that honey and jaggery, palm sugar, all of them are good. Coconut sugar, now it has come. None of them. All have equal amount. And person claims with an advertisement, oh, jaggery has got more iron. Honey has got vitamins, minerals, iron. Why should a person go and eat honey and jaggery to get iron? Pour our spinach and our green leafy vegetables, which gives you with the least amount of calories, so much amount of iron. One can choose that. You don't have to eat honey and jaggery because they give you the same amount of calories. So number one mantra, every gram you eat, see the calorie it contains least. Then it is definitely healthier. So honey is no better than white sugar or palm sugar.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, 1 second, Maji. Yeah, as an extension, there was a question on coconut sugar and dates as well. Can you just enlighten on that?
Yeah, good. Coconut sugar, I said, in fact, we've got from a client from Philippines to do GI testing, 3 types of coconut sugar. There's also in the market, there's called a Nira, a coconut sap drink. Before the coconut could form the sap, they make a drink Nira. They're all loaded with sucrose. Sucrose is nothing but glucose and fructose. So this is not, is very, very good source. It's again a sugar. So coconut sugar, Nira, jaggery, palm sugar, honey, all are sugar. Use it only wherever it is needed in a smaller amount. That is what it is. How do you treat white sugar? The same treatment across for all sugars.
Okay. So Jayanti aunty is telling your statement about that running around the ground is not a punishment and presenting a chocolate is a very good statement, she's saying.
Oh, thank you. This is what I've been training now. Every year I go to kindergarten teachers in Padma Seshadri in Chennai and I give them nutrition awareness education. I'm pleading them to bring out good nursery rhymes, remove the chubby cheeks. And so they all don't have, many schools don't have a place for the kids to play, I'm teaching them on the spot jump is still better and things like that. Yeah, thank you very much for your.
That's good. Yeah, the next question is from Nimita ma'am. She's asking, it is said that diabetic can eat rice from which starch is removed by draining the extra water. Is it advisable?
Now, probably the same, who has asked this question? Jayanti, madam?
No, this question is by Nimita ma'am.
Okay. Now, Nimita ma'am, having listened to my talk, now you will be able to tell me whether cooking the rice in open cooking with excess water, there are some cookers have been made, they'll tell you can remove that the kanji or the strained water. So if the starch, all the starch is going to go out, there should be nothing left as the rice, because now we get polished rice in the market, which is only starch. So everything should remove as a starch. It is not. In fact, in the excess water, what is lost is the good quality of starch called amylose. Our rice has got two types of starch, amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is like a long bead kind of, if you take it under the microscope, they are long structure like this, which our digestive enzyme cannot cut them and digest them that easily. Whereas amylopectin is like a branch chain that our digestive enzyme can digest very quickly. So this rice containing amylose is normally around 25%, 75% is amylopectin. Wish in your washing and excess water that amylopectin goes off. Unfortunately, it is not. The amylose, the long chain, that gets washed. It is called soluble amylose, very few little percent. So if at all you are draining water, you are draining the good starch amylose instead of the bad starch amylopectin. So please do not drain that excess water, which is not worth it. It's not going to get you any better.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is from Pramila, ma'am. Should snacks and fruits be avoided by diabetics?
Why? Why penalize diabetic? What sin they have committed not to eat snack and fruits? They can eat like any. The first of all, people call it as a diabetic food, diabetic diet. There is nothing called a diabetic diet. What is today good for a person with diabetes, good for you and me and all of us without diabetes. So there is a healthy diet for everybody. So one can eat fruits and snack, but only as any health conscious person, you must decide what is the right snack. You wanted to eat every day deep fried soft vada, medu vada, pakoda, ribbon mixture, and all those namkeens which are loaded with fat. And people just take it, oh, it doesn't look oily at all, in my hand. That is not the way. If it is not on your palm, it leaves any oil. That means it has absorbed all the oil. If it is on your palm, at least some oil it is not able to absorb, will be definitely lower. So this kind of a deep fried snacks are unhealthy snack. Like I told you, a samosa is very unhealthy. Pani puri, chaat items. So if the same chaat items, bel puri is made with lot of legumes and pulses instead of the puffed rice, which is only starch. So then it can be a healthier option. And nuts, you can have a handful of nuts as with your chai ke saath or a tea with the coffee with, that's definitely a better snack. And fruits, there are many good fruits, like our oranges, all the berries, strawberries, and, amla, all the sweet lime, all the citrus fruits, and also those apples, papayas, muskmelon, the kidney types are good. Only we don't want you all to be, you're all already a king and queen. So you don't have to eat the kingly fruits of jackfruit and mangoes, which are very ripe. Okay. So those things are definitely contain lot amount of glucose and fructose in the natural form. Definitely we tell people like watermelon. Watermelon notoriously raises the blood glucose very quickly. It contains entire water is sweet. For some people sensitive, if you are fond of drinking watermelon in summer, please have it along with your meal, 2 pieces, because you feel like you love that fruit. We don't want you to deprive you of the food. Not eating itself is a stress for you, will raise your blood glucose. Might as well eat it along with the meal, but do not have a fruit juice separately of that. That is why we say that. These are all healthy fruit, guavas, there are pears. These are all, so many fruits can be taken as a snack. Definitely much better than your namkeens. We appreciate that. Yeah, next question.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Lakshmi, ma'am, again. How important is protein intake to keep the sugar levels down for both vegetarians and non-vegetarians?
It's a very good question. It's the need of the hour. And protein is a very important healthy nutrient Historically, we have been eating very, very less protein. And the less protein we are eating, and now we are filling it with more and more unhealthy. At least our ancestors had good quality carbs, and they had reasons to, they walked miles, to the post office. Today, we cut, copy, paste grandma recipes. We don't cut, copy, paste our grandma, grandparent exercise. Now we wanted to book even before touching the lift button, we wanted the Ola Uber to be at a downstairs. We don't even walk few steps, The child wanted adolescent age, ready to buy a scooter license. They wanted to go for the tuitions in two-wheeler. So that mechanization has improved and we are adopting the technology and wrong copy paste. So today the problem with us is the unhealthy carbs and low protein. So we have to reverse it now. So your side dishes should be more and your main dish of roti or rice should become less. So your main dish should become your side dish and your side dish should become your main dish. So eat more dal. Take small amount of rice and make it more dal and more sambar with more veggies and fill your side plates more full. And that way you'll improve your protein, not only from dal, protein or more satiety, meaning that make you feel full. Take enough milk and curds, definitely is helpful. All of our study shows more milk is good for us. It's a wrong notion. People think today milk and curd are all people are telling lacto-vegetarian, we have to go and become vegan, not needed. So far, our evidence says dairy and its products, either skim milk or a 3% regular single tone milk, they are proving to be good for us. Please make sure that you drink at least milk and curds put together per person should consume half a liter a day for your curd, milk, everything. If there are 4 adults, make sure you buy 2 liters. So this way, the high protein is good. Even for a non-vegetarian, we recommend do not choose mutton. Rather, you choose more of egg white, more of lean meat like chicken and fatty fish is better than mutton and beef and pork. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is again by Rasham, ma'am. Can stress cause early diabetes?
I think I've answered in my talk presentation. There is no single factor. Type 2 diabetes is caused by many genes, polygenetic, and there is no single environmental factor. The lifestyle has got everything. So enough exercise, good diet, and of course, the stress is a trigger. So if you can manage your stress through good meditation or yoga, I'm sure the growing young is really teaching a lot more of breathing, exercise, and so on, which is relaxation. This participating thrice a week, that's what is the recommendation for resistance and training itself will make you. Let's not stress the word stress more than is required. Let's stress the word stress.
Thank you. Thank you, Sudha ma'am. So the next question is again by Lakshmi ma'am. When there is obesity in the family and all our senior citizens, how can we prevent type 2 diabetes?
I'm amazed. The person, obesity in the family, obesity run in the family. It is a cooking style run in the family. This is how my mother cooked. This is my grandmother way of cooking. I bake only with ghee only, we make like this. We fry pappad only, we don't toast pappad. So this cooking style, so mother, father obese, the same style is passed on to the next generation. And that is how the mother prepares, how she was brought up by her mother. It goes on. So it is how it's the style. So either senior citizens or youngsters. So it is nothing to do with the family of obesity. I can prove with enough anecdotes on that. So please, look at your cooking style and be conscious about what you're cooking and eating. And you love deep fried foods. I'm not a proponent to say no pappads fried, no, but eat that a smaller portion. See, you deprive of your food. This is where the problem comes in. If you tell a diabetic person not to eat chocolate, okay, the person will feel very hurt that, oh, I can't eat chocolate. It is in his stress in his mind. When everybody is sleeping, when people are not in the kitchen, he or she, diabetic person, will go into the kitchen quietly, steal a tiny bit, consciously know it is not good, but to satisfy a little beast. This is where the food industry is exploiting. They come up with a diabetic chocolate, they charge you more, and they put all unhealthy fat in it. They remove sugar. They think as a sugar is a villain. And this is a product you get artificial sweetener, low calorie sweetener, sweet gulab jamun for diabetic gulab jamun. I feel like asking them, do you fry gulab jamun in hot water? They'll tell you in hot ghee. As a ghee is not a good source. It's so much unhealthy fat. And why sugar? So people has got a wrong message from the marketing in the media. So don't get cheated by this, This is what is very, very important, I would say so. So
okay, yeah. The next question, Veena auntie is asking, My uncle, who was generally very healthy and active, was detected with diabetes at 65 years. It was a surprise for all because there is no history of diabetes. The doctor said diabetes detected after 60 is not hereditary and it is lifestyle problem. I would like to know how to control such diabetes.
Okay. There are two information I have to first clarify. So diabetes is hereditary. There is definitely a genetic tendency. But many of us, it can skip generation. A parent, I think this auntie should be thankful that our uncle developed only at 65, not at 35. That showed that he had a very good, healthy lifestyle perhaps. So he invited diabetes at his retirement age, so he could give all the love and care to diabetes and celebrate diabetes birthday every year. Now today we have a problem. We get diabetes people at age of 20, 25, very worrisome. The younger generation, all the IT industry, they are the most number of people with diabetes with their irregular sleep cycle and irregular eating habits. They are mostly affected. So the diabetes after 60 is not hereditary, is wrong, because we do not know what 2 generations before. We don't even know the great-grandfather name, mother, father name. We know father, grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather. Anybody knows? We don't know. So it can skip generation. And another reason now today, those days, the longevity of average Indian, we can't hardly find people celebrating 60th. That's why the 60th birthday celebration came. Oh, this man is alive for 60 years. The average lifespan was 40, 45. The scientist Ramanujan, tuberculosis were rampant, communicable diseases, people were dying. Our longevity was lowest. Now today, aging population, people stop celebrating 60th birthday. Now 80th birthday, 75th and 80th birthday. Very soon, even 80 above people are going to be more commonly seen, and we may celebrate 90th century. So this aging is the epigenetic change, we call it. That is why the aging population is growing all over the world. Probably we are seeing this chronic disease more obvious because we get to see more number of people living above 60 than 100 years ago. People above 60 were far and few. That's one of the reasons. And hence the science has also grown based on the more people, more technology has come now than before. Thank you.
Good. So the healthiest lifestyle is very, very important.
Yeah.
All after that. Yeah. So the next question, I think you answered in your slide, in the presentation itself. Which cooking oil is best for people with sugar, BP, and cholesterol? It is said one should keep changing oils. Hence, which oil should be used in summer, which should be used in winter?
We are just the same in summer or winter. So oil. So we don't take different avatars in winter. Of course, we wear our jackets and so on, but body is the same metabolism. So maybe you can use variety of oil, but do not pay excess money to buy the so-called blended oil, olive oil, all these fanciful things you don't do. Do 1 month you buy rice bran oil, 1 month mustard oil, 1 month groundnut oil. For a few dishes you use gingerly oil, for a few dishes you use, and try and minimize the use of sunflower and safflower. They are definitely
Really, that changing oil works, is it?
It will definitely, because it keeps your balance of fatty acids of saturated to MIFA, it will give you the balance. And so, because there is no single perfect oil except the canola oil, but even canola oil is a recently developed last 10, 20 years oil. We don't know whether it is going to be healthy if it is continued for hundreds of years. Whereas other traditional oils are very good. And on this context, I would like to tell people started saying, oh, I go to the chakki oil, I don't buy the refined oil and chakki oil. What is extra in the chakki oil or the freshly ground oil is those little vitamin E may have polyphenol, but they become rancid very fast. They become spoiled very fast. They contain a lot of wax also. So there is no study on chakki oil. It is all again a market gimmick because we are telling limit less processed food, take more unprocessed. So these food industry are utilizing the word less processed, and then they're coming up with the oil. So any oil use in moderation. Per adult, we allow only 4 to 5 teaspoons of oil per day. So look at your oil per month. If there are 4 adults in the family, you buy 2 or 3 oils also fine. Not more than 2 liters is first the quantity. Then the quality, keep rotating. If you don't like, at least buy 2-3 oils every month regularly. You like mustard oil, soybean oil, buy that. If you don't like South Indian, we are really South Indian. If you tell me that I have to, take fatty fish for omega-3, being a vegetarian, by looking at that, I have to eat fatty fish itself will give me a heart attack. I'm a strong vegetarian. So it is like that, what you like, you don't like mustard oil, don't eat. But at least use the oil like a gingerly or groundnut or rice bran oil. Those kind of things will definitely be. So definitely the variety of oil every month or each month change oil, both ways.
Just to add on to that
The best
question,
option.
is the adulteration happening in the oil?
Everything is adulterated. Do we have a good olive pair? Why food alone? Even the air we breathe. See how beautiful the body copes with that. We have more and more people living in 60s, 70s, and 80 years than before, with all the adulteration going on. We don't know. So oils is very, very picky. But today that I can tell you this much, food safety standard authorities are really attacking on the oil industry. So you will find less and less oils getting adulterated from a good branded oil if you buy. If you buy from loose oil from a dealer or distributor, from a chucky, then adulteration possible. If you buy from a packet processed with the FSA license, they cannot. And some of these adulterants are so acute, it will trigger food poisoning immediately. So they cannot continue to adulterate like those days. People adding papaya seeds into pepper, those days are all gone off now. They are all with a high level of adulteration, which can be trapped easily today. So definitely it is not so much so. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Resham, ma'am. I had gestational diabetes. Will my children get diabetes at an early age?
First, you have to worry about yourself. Since you had gestational diabetes, you have to make sure post-gestation that you don't develop diabetes. Because there is a genetic tendency that you develop gestational diabetes in the first place. Only upon your delivery, if your child born after your gestational diabetes has got a big baby, we call it macrosomic, then the baby has got a tendency to develop diabetes. So it is the children and the mother, both because come with the family history of diabetes, knowingly or unknowingly, it tells you, because you don't know your ancestor, you cannot say, I don't have a family. We can trace only one generation or two. So it only tells you there is some genetic susceptibility, hence you got during your pregnancy, not other pregnancy, right? You got it. So if your children born after your pregnancy are big babies, weighing like 10 pounds, like 4 kilos, more than 3.5 kilos, they are called like macrosomic, then you must be careful with them. Childhood obesity should be arrested and teach them, show them the healthy habit. Do not add, boost is the secret of my energy and adding to the milk. Why the whole plain milk itself is wholesome. Giving a child added sugar into the milk, added, this energy, this all should be shunned for such family background. Mothers should take care of the children. And then definitely they can prevent or delay the onset. Let them receive diabetes at the age of 80 or 85. Good time pass with diabetes they can have, not at a younger age. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Now comes the big question. How to reduce weight by diet? By Krishnan, sir.
I know this is a notorious problem across all of us, including myself, especially women gain weight post-menopause. So I did, struggling. I walked 7-8 kilometers, do all possible things. I'm still struggling to lose. I need to shed another 10 kilos, struggling hard. So now the one magic bullet is, when you do, as you grow older with too much of fasting, you will find a lot of bloatedness comes and gas gets filled up. And irritable bowels, this IBD is so common now, the IBS, the syndrome. So people need to, it is very individualized. So first mantra is, whatever you are eating today, cut down the quantity to by half. If you are eating 3 dosa, bring it down to 1.5 or reduce the size, as I said before. And you might think, if I cut down by half food, I feel hungry, then you must have some low-calorie foods as a filler. So before you start taking, drink a glass of water, if you like, or have a thin buttermilk. Drink half a liter before you start your meal. And start your plate from the side dishes. Don't serve your main roti or rice first. Start your salad. People do not cook enough side dishes. They make only one item. They don't prepare one vegetable, one salad, or one raita, or one, we call it with a dal and green leafy vegetable. So if you prepare more side dishes, which are healthier options, and your main dish become less. This is one way. And some people feel comfortable to eat small quantity every 3 hours. It works. There is a conflicting scientific research today. long interval or small frequent meals, nothing, there is no magic bullet. Cut down your total calories. So come down to half what you eat. If you feel hungry, take thin buttermilk like water you can drink. It has got least calories. Or lemon juice with salt and ginger or mint or whatever various recipes you can create without adding sugar, of course, and adding less salt. And you can add pepper, mint, ginger, whatever, like chaat masala, whatever spices you can add. Or tomato, fresh tomatoes, if it's suitable to you, you can just beat the tomatoes and make it. You drink a glass of tomato juice, you feel so full. To start your lunch, automatically you cut down your calories. So this is all the low calorie foods. If you can start eating them first before every meal, then your meal calories comes down. And snack, be mindful of what you snack. And that replace your snack with salads or fruits. Definitely is a way. And definitely exercise. Not only a walking, like your your muscle flexibility, like growing and what we do, those kind of exercise you must do thrice a week. 150 minutes of moderate brisk walking. What brisk walking? I see a lot of people walk the talk, People wanted to escape out of home to talk to their loved ones and near ones or friends. With the headphones on, they walk. The brisk, best speed of your age, there is no magic speed. Your best speed determines when you walk, you will not be able to talk to anybody on phone or even somebody walking next to you. That is the best optimal speed for each one of us. And if you walk at that speed, 150 minutes per week is good. You can split it into 5 days of 30 minutes, but you also need a minimum of 90 to 100 minutes, 3 times a week of this core strengthening or your resistance exercise is a must, especially for people with diabetes. It does help to reduce blood glucose and it helps you prevent even heart disease and definitely a healthier, a longer life. Assured.
Thank you, ma'am, for letting us know how to actually maintain weight.
You have done a beautifully good 3 times a week. You're doing 1 hour. Wonderful. Yeah.
So we're actually just trying to manage the WHO recommendations for the senior citizens. So that is how we have designed the whole program, keeping that in mind, the balance training, the muscle strengthening, and the aerobic activity.
Good. Yeah. Dates. Dates, I forgot to mention. Dates have got sugar, which has got more of fructose. I told you like a glucose. So dates definitely, that is why some of the company tell you it's a low glycemic index because it has got less glucose but more fructose. Fructose, that's why America is having a problem. Every product they have high fructose corn syrup. I have requested Sudanta and Viji, where I can bring a speaker who will teach you how to shop and read product label smartly. There is hidden ingredient in all the breakfast you buy many products, you don't even know they are all high fructose corn syrup. These high fructose corn syrup will not increase your blood glucose. They'll increase your blood dirty cholesterol called triglyceride and make your hormone insulin very bad and resistant and thereby increase your blood sugar, indirect route. So America is struggling with obesity problem because of the high fructose corn syrup. They have published 100 years of data of Americans. So this dates contain more amount of fructose. Definitely not a healthier choice to eat every day. For iron, I'm buying dates. I have no excuse. Eat a lot of veggies like palak and spinach and other leafy vegetables. Yeah.
And figs also is figs.
Which one?
Fig.
Figs. Yeah. All dried fruits have got more moisture loss. They are more concentrated form of these sugars. You take any dried fruit. Yeah, you must be mindful of using, especially if you are a diabetic and if you are a calorie conscious person. Use less dry fruit. They are good. If you have constipation, take 5 kisses and then take it for the fiber part. Eat instead of dried fruit, eat fresh fruit. No, it's much more healthier.
Sudha ma'am, there's one more doubt I'm having. There are 2 ways of getting dry fruits. We have to soak and eat or take it in a natural form, which is good.
Okay, soaking the fruit, there is something, a fiber in the fruit has got soluble fiber. When you soak, the soluble fiber becomes more viscous. So for people with the constipation problem, they can soak and have it, And if you are wanting to enjoy dry fruit just for the taste of it, you can eat as such. So it's only the nuts, better to take unroasted form. A handful of nuts a day is better. If you love so much nuts, even 2 handful is okay, provided you cut equally that amount of starchy foods from your meal. If you're eating 3 fulkas, come down to 1 fulka. Then you're qualified to eat 2 nuts, handful of nuts.
What is the time? I mean, when is the best time to eat?
Yeah, it is. We have tested with cashew nut eaten as a standalone mid-morning snack. That is why I showed you the slide. Now we have just completed almond study, and almonds again we have given them as a mid-morning or evening snack. That is also showing a good result. Now we are currently doing pistachio study, where we are trying to introduce pista into the part of the meal, and thereby when you eat unhealthy starchy foods like the idli, steamed foods, which are all highly gelatinized, idiyappam, and all those things, if you add nuts in the meal, raw, either you start having nuts and start your meal, it can blunt your post-meal blood glucose. So that is what we are doing. It should. So you can eat along with the meals also, it's good. And as a mid-morning or evening snack also, it's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Eating nuts in the night before sleeping is bad.
Wonderful. You can have it. Yeah, wonderful. So you will find definitely your fasting blood sugar will definitely help you to improve. If you have a high fasting blood glucose and you don't hit during sleep. Many people have early morning fasting blood sugar alone high. Post meal is better. So it's better to have a bedtime snack for such people, because they may be hitting low blood sugar during sleep. And then it's like a bounce ball. The lower the blood sugar you hit, like harder you hit the ball, it goes up. From low blood sugar, it will jump to higher fasting. So it's good to eat at bedtime also is a good idea. Any protein supplement in the night is also good. Like you have your protein added into your milk, like you have a lot of high protein product in the market, right? So yeah, you can add them in the milk and have it also. For people with diabetes, you give no sugar added. Yeah.
Also sprouted
what is
direct intake, which is better.
boiled?
I can't hear the question. What is it?
Sprouts.
Okay. Sprouts. See, sprouts, one should have controlled sprouts. The purpose of sprouts is when you sprout it, the starch is broken down into smaller glucose. So very highly sprouted will raise your blood glucose. So control sprout. You don't have to eat sprouts at all. Okay, but sprouts is good. It will improve your iron absorption. So have a small sheet of sprout. Don't get a nicely sprouted. It's not good. It will raise your blood. So the starch in the bean or the pulses is broken down into glucose. That is why the new sprout shoot is coming up. Control sprouts is good, but you don't have to pick and choose because it is healthy. If you like sprouts, have a small sprout is okay, not well sprouted seeds.
One more.
A few more questions. Yes, Sumit. So we'll just get back to that. A few questions which were asked by the clients earlier. Any diet recommendations for rheumatoid arthritis? This was
okay. This is a typical elderly growing problem now because of aging, and our most of the elderly are on the overweight or obese side. And rheumatoid arthritis is by and large is genetic. It is not caused by any diet. But having said that, those who have rheumatoid arthritis, please watch your weight. If you plan to shed your weight loss if you can't exercise more, try and do more localized exercise and have a good discipline on diet. And that will certainly help you lose weight. And that will be a savior when you stand on walk. That will definitely give you a relief to your rheumatoid arthritis. But it cannot cure, diet cannot cure rheumatoid arthritis. It is mostly genetic in nature.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is by Rita, ma'am. How to reduce triglycerides and LDL through diet? Which food items help to improve HDL?
I think now Rita should be able to tell to everybody.
Right. I think you answered.
Answered.
Slides,
yeah,
right?
More amount of fruits and vegetables.
Correct.
Right. And that is one way. And triglyceride, cut down your starchy food, carbs, and increase your dal and pulses. Your
right.
side dish, main dish. Remember that.
Okay.
You must say, I'm eating dal with roti, not roti ke saath dal. It's not roti with dal, it should be dal with roti.
More protein, yeah. Okay. So the next question is, by Rita ma'am. What are the food items to be avoided by hypothyroid patients, 65 plus years old? And another question also asked by her about the diet for gallbladder stone.
Okay.
Okay, I think
Beautiful question.
Satyavani ma'am also had the same question about hypothyroidism.
Okay, so typically you find that any hormone, as it is, insulin is one hormone, thyroxine is another hormone, thyroid. These both are endocrine hormone. So normally people with diabetes tend to get hypothyroidism, so much so. Hypothyroidism slows down your metabolism. So people with hypothyroidism gain weight more faster. So they are generally overweight, obese. So you should plan your weight reduction by exercising more. In fact, hypothyroidism people should do compulsorily more walking, more exercise, so that metabolic rate will go higher up. And then there are certain, the iodized salt is something which one should use for hypothyroidism, not a non-iodized salt, because iodine is one deficient in hypothyroidism. And there are known certain fruits which are called goitrogens, we call it, all leafy cruciferous vegetable like cauliflower, cabbage, kale, spinach, and these are all have got little more of goitrogens, we call it, and they definitely need to be cut down on that. Other than that, I would say that hypothyroid people should bring their weight down first. That is number one. And that will take care, and have your regular thyroid medication, then the dosage can come down. In fact, with the weight loss, you will find that your thyroid gets, with the medication over time, it gets corrected very beautifully. Use iodized salt as a number one regimen, no other salt. And the fanciful people talk about Himalayan salt, that's all gimmick. If sodium is less, then potassium is more. It's a balance is needed. Use regular salt, any salt, use less. If you use Himalayan salt, you may have to add more salt to make you feel salty. So don't go for any magic bullet there. Yeah. Next question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another.
You are copying all the chat box question, or you want me to read, or you collected? No, I don't have to open the.
Yeah, we have it. We have it.
We have it.
Okay. Okay.
So which food items help increase B12 and calcium levels?
Oh, definitely. Now we are a vegetarian nation. We all have become, it's more and more non-vegetarian eaters are there. Even among non-vegetarian eaters, our non-veg foods consumption is very, very small. Many non-vegetarian eaters have fasting on Saturday, I don't eat non-veg, Tuesday, I don't eat, Friday, I don't eat. And even if they find it's very expensive food, most of the animal food. So the amount we don't consume like Westerner, not the main meal is non-veg, right? Instead of vegetable, we may eat. So the good source for B12 and calcium on a daily food is milk. I think the dairy product, if you consume half a liter a day for curd, yogurt, milk, I think that will take care of your B12 and calcium. That is the easiest way. Every day we consume. So that is the best way to get calcium, and calcium is best bioavailable from milk than from anywhere else. Yeah.
So, and as an extension, we had another question from Nimita ma'am. So she's asking, like, nowadays the milk is more adulterated, right? We hear that cows and buffaloes are injected with steroids. So is it okay to give it to our children? Is it okay for us to consume?
Yeah. I think we are somewhat caught up with what goes in the West comes to the East. So I wish from sunrise of East nations we must pass it to the West to make them feel sunset, So it is the steroids and hormones are all protein in nature. We typically have a habit of boiling a milk, whereas Westerner, they open the gallon of milk and pour it like that they have. So since we boil the milk, our good practice, all this protein nature get denatured one. And adulterant in India, if at all a freshly drawn cow's buffalo milk, poor the milkman will add only water. The problem will come from the quality of water than from the quality of milk. So that is the adulteration with the water problem. And
that's a very nice answer.
And if I feel if the milk is going to be adulterated, it will trigger acute bacterial infection, acute food poisoning. And the fellow will be seed. He will lose a business, he or she. So today people are wanting to run the business, not to close their business. So they are also becoming able. They cannot fool us not more than 1 day or 1 month, All these gimmick foods of Diabeto, Diabetics, you don't find them in the market after a few months, 6 months, it all disappear. So people are like consumers, like you're all well aware. They cannot sustain. So adulteration story is not a winning formula for any business anymore. So let us not worry so much about, we have not come to and talk about A2 milk, A1 milk, and all this is all gimmick. Nothing, all our Indian milk, even recently we completed, only last week we did the GA testing of Arvin 3% blue packet milk and the 3% fat. It's showing beautifully a low GA. and we all consume very well. Don't worry at all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next, we have a question.
Wow, I'm
from
really
Farooq.
overwhelmed with you. I wish I should have had the question answer session. Maybe my presentation time should have been cut down. I wish maybe we can have a,
Yeah,
hello,
we can plan one
question.
and aloof question answer session
Yeah.
also. I think there will be a
Yeah.
lot of questions to be answered. So
Wow,
just a few more actually. We'll quickly go through that. One is from Parul ma'am. So she's asking, can diabetic persons eat wheat rotis in the morning and rice in the evening?
Yeah, no problem. Eat, but the moderation, either wheat or roti. Today, the wheat is made as a roti. That is why white rice and chapati are one and the same. Those days, the doctor were trying to tell a South Indian, once the person get diabetes, the doctor thought that fellow, if I tell him not to eat in the night rice, he'll cut down his intake. So he told the patient to eat chapati. But after some time, the person would have developed taste for chapati. He started eating 4, 5, 6 chapati. So that is no limit. So rice or wheat, it is a myth. People think only South Indian get more diabetes and rice eat. In fact, the highest prevalence of diabetes is in affluent state like Haryana, Punjab has got highest. Our national study has got data. So rice, white rice, blood sugar is equivalent to whole wheat because we don't eat whole wheat like a brown rice. So it is same. Either you eat in the morning or night, but the moderation and the quantity that you eat matters the most. And the side dish, ensure you eat enough dals and proteins.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Another question in the chat box. Some info about sugar-free products.
That is why, as I gave you an example of gulab jamun, they remove the sugar and put low-calorie sweetener, but you have to deep fry. Then it's a sugar-free product. So you have to read label where the sugar-free product. If the sugar-free product is going for cookies, read the label, look at the fat content. If the fat content is more than 10-12%, it is definitely, even if the sugar-free product is not healthier. So today you find most of the sugar-free items are high in fat. Sugar-free ice cream, sugar-free cookies, sugar-free chocolates, sugar-free desserts, sugar-free jamun. So all are wrongly sugar-free products. So I had a good grain-based breakfast cereal with the sugar-free, good fiber, good protein, and then yes, sugar-free is good. So there are plenty of good low-calorie sweeteners. So there is a lot to be told about low-calorie sweeteners. The popular one today, we talk about sucralose, you may have, and the saccharin. I don't want to call any brand name. Then the company gets, they get promoted as a brand name. So we are very careful in not calling any brand name the product. So sucralose, saccharin, only the aspartame pregnant women, we tell them not to. So unfortunately, many products containing low-calorie sweeteners, they now write with some E-code numbers are given by the authority, standards authority. Many of us don't even know what kind of a low-calorie sweetener has been added. So sugar-free products on a healthier product is good, you can take it. But for an unhealthy product, which even adding no sugar-free, low-calorie sweeteners like sugar-free product, but it contains a lot of fat in it, definitely, and no fiber, no protein, don't eat. So I'm sure in next session, you will be able to tell me which are the good ones and bad ones. I think you guys conduct a quiz and show them the guided tour or shop or Amazon.com or Big Basket quiz, take images and they will tell you which are the good ones and bad ones. Yeah.
Sure. We'll plan one soon. The next one is by Manju ma'am. So she was at the beginning of the session, wants to know about bloating.
एंड मैडम साथ में मेरा एक ये भी था कि हिंदी में पूछ सकती हूँ मैं?
हाँ जरूर पूछिए।
कि जैसे अपना बॉडी सुबह उठते तो ठीक होता है, फिर धीरे धीरे थोड़ा स्वेलिंग आने लग जाता है, तो किन खाने से स्वेलिंग आता है अपने, जैसे इधर आ जाता है, एंकल्स में आ जाता है, स्वेलिंग आ जाता है मेरे को, और फिर वो अपने आप चला भी जाता है, तो कौन से फूड से अपने को स्वेलिंग आता है?
आप पहले आपको डॉक्टर से पूछना पड़ेगा। स्वेलिंग का कारण डायबिटीज का शुगर नहीं होगा, आपके
नहीं
थोड़ा कम हो गया तो भी स्वेलिंग आ जाता है, और आपका सॉल्ट सोडियम बढ़ जाता है ना, उसमें कारण भी स्वेलिंग हो जाता है। सो स्वेलिंग एंकल में हो जाता है, तो कभी कभी हमारा हड्डियां ना, बोन्स का कैल्शियम निकल जाता है, वेरी थिन बोन्स, वो भी इट कैन कम, सो आप जरा पूछना पड़ेगा आपको, बाकी सब ठीक ठाक है। सो इफ इट इज ओनली योर टमी का, एक के बाद आपको ब्लोटेड हो जाता है,
हाँ.
वो बड़ी लो का होता है some fiber ना, जो हम fiber कहते हैं ना, insoluble fiber or soluble fiber. A product typically fructo-oligosaccharides हम साइंस में कहते हैं. वो प्रोडक्ट लेबल में वो लिखा हुआ प्रोडक्ट आप खाएं तो वो खाने के बाद वो थोड़ा bloated होता है. So that fiber food, then you must cut down, slowly introduce. Some people even after eating chenna, chickpea or any, they feel it is bloated and lot of gas, gadbad hota hai na, gas problem, tummy ka bloated. So वो चीज आपको चना तो अच्छा प्रोटीन है. So आप रात के सोप पानी में भिजा हुआ के नेक्स्ट डे बिफोर प्रेशर कुकिंग का पहले ना आप वो पानी हटा दें, फ्रेश पानी भर के प्रेशर कुक कीजिए. वो जो फ्लैटुलेंट कॉजिंग का जो चीज उसमें है वो निकल जाता है. सो देन वो प्रॉब्लम भी आपको कम हो जाएगा. सो आपका स्वेलिंग जो एंकल बोल रही है वो कुछ डाइट के कारण नहीं हो सकती है. आप जरा डॉक्टर से पूछ लीजिए.
So we have Dolly Auntie. Dolly Auntie has posted a lot of questions. Auntie, you can unmute and question now.
I wanted to know if you have premature babies, do they have diabetes as they grow up? That's one of the things.
Yeah. So premature babies, there is a growth. So if the baby is born with small weight and premature, then you must be mindful the catch-up growth, especially the growing phase. The child should not be putting on weight and gain childhood obesity. So there is a tendency for the catch-up. The premature babies, mostly in India, especially when they have a catch-up growth. This is one of the theories that has been posted by Barker for we Indians, even a well-fed gestational mothers, pregnant women, both in British, in UK and India, and we Indian mothers deliver a smaller birth weight compared to a Caucasian mother. So the birth weight as well as a premature baby with a small birth weight, they have a tendency to have a catch-up growth and pick on. This is called syndrome X kids, they are called. That's how catch-up growth. They develop adolescent metabolic syndrome. So the best way, yes, there is a vulnerability. So the best way for the premature babies is to arrest them gaining weight at the growing phase of the preteens and adolescent phase, that will prevent them, and they can definitely get out of this metabolic syndrome X behavior, and they can help them grow healthy lifestyle. Unfortunately, they don't. They are grown into a lot of unhealthy eating habit. They put on weight. The parents don't realize. They always feel soft. Bichara, this kid was born small weight. I'm so happy to see him gaining weight. Is where the problem with the motherhood. So,
yeah, but she hasn't actually gained weight all these years. But now that she is pregnant for the first time, and she's 36 years old, 37, going on 37. And now I found in the first trimester itself, she's gained massive weight compared to what she was. She doubled in weight. That's what my anxiety is.
Yeah, that's what we always say, that the pregnancy also, that is why one of the reasons you appreciate early marriage and then pregnancy are all, so late 30s and things are all a little late pregnancy towards.
Yeah.
That itself has a lot of endocrine changes, and that gaining weight is very, so what the pregnant women should do is fight very hard to do those pregnant based exercise and watch the diet to cut the weight down. And if it is due to the weight gain is more due to fluid retention, and she must fight to cut down even the sodium intake to that extent. And correct the weight gain. Unfortunately, those gestational mothers, the diagnosis is done only in the late second trimester. So we have now done a study to tell those mothers who are gaining weight in the first trimester should go for the gestational diabetic OGTT, the glucose tolerance.
Yeah, that they do regularly there. Yes.
They do it little later. They do it later all over the world, only at the 24th session. We are now recommending to do it in the first trimester.
No, they're doing it in the first trimester. They've done it.
Good.
Yeah.
So if she can plan to shed some weight gain, and that will definitely help her. And if she does some 7,000 steps a day or 10,000 steps a day, more veggies and more protein, cut starch and drink plenty of adequate fluids, including good amount of milk, I think will help her.
No, she doesn't like milk. That's my problem.
So then find out if she likes some yogurt, or something like that, if she likes.
Okay.
If she doesn't like, give her more of egg white if she can take egg white protein. less of yellow and more of egg white. That is better. If she likes soybean, give a little more beans, like soybean or
She has soy milk. Soy milk she has.
Ah, okay. Yeah, kidney bean or all the beans. Include more beans in her diet. Should help her more protein.
Yeah. Another question was, you talked about milk and yogurt to have plenty. What happened was I had a vegetarian a friend who was strictly vegetarian and nothing else but milk and vegetables and milk and yogurt. But now when she had cancer, the doctor has stopped her from having milk and yogurt and said, milk and yogurt are the ones that caused cancer for you. So is that true? Is that true?
Well, it's not been proven. What kind of cancer she had?
She's got abdominal cancer. Abdominal.
Yeah,
She's got a lot of multiple on the peritoneal layer. She's got multiple.
Having got cancer, milk and dairy will not lead to cancer. Maybe she has been consuming milk and curd adequately, but eating less of fruits and vegetables. That is proven. People who consume very low amount of fruit and vegetables, and is eating, and that could be a reason. And milk and dairy causing cancer is not being proven at all.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Definitely.
The next question.
I beg to differ. Yeah.
So one more question. I just want to use this platform.
One more, Sulinda.
Yes,
one more question.
Yes,
my last question.
Yes.
Now, I am constantly 79 kilos, and we've got history of diabetes in our family. And I have not shed that 79 kilos for the past 4 or 5 years. I'm still on that same weight. So what do I do? Am I heading for being a diabetic person?
If for your height, if you are definitely on the overside, looking, I do not know your height.
154 centimeters.
154 centimeters, certainly your 79 kilos is far excess. Definitely, you must try and fight hard. If you can't increase your exercise considering your age, then the only way for you to make shed your weight is with the whatever best amount of exercise you can do, proportionately cut down your calories. You must be very stringent on your diet to kill the calories down.
I have just 2 meals a day, one at 1:30 in the morning, which is oats and nuts and berries, and one in the evening at 6 o'clock, which only consists of vegetables or vegetable soup on vegetables. That's all. No. I don't eat rice, or I don't eat chapatis, I don't eat anything except
the little info to Sudha ma'am. Actually, she worked as an army nurse.
Okay, I know.
So she has that background knowledge.
Yeah. So now your oats, you stop taking oats porridge. Okay. So you must have something which you can chew. So you can jolly well eat some brown rice, which will do better than your oats. And you like chapati, you eat one chapati.
No, I don't eat chapatis. That affects
my
stomach.
Don't like, it's okay. Yeah. Then
stomach gets affected.
Yeah, don't worry. But buy the steel cut oats if you can in your country.
Steel cut is there. Steel cut is
that you buy rather than your quick cooking oats. That is better. I think I feel now is if you eat adequately very low calorie diet all by yourself and still you are gaining weight, then what?
Yeah. I'm not gaining weight. I'm static at 79.
Yeah, but make you lose weight. You must every 45 minutes you must do some movement. Maybe your 6 hours or more. So
no. I walk for 1 hour. I have 1.5 hours, and then I do my growing young exercises, which they send you. And every day I'm doing. But my doctor has slowed me down in exercise because of my aortic valve.
Okay.
So he has slowed me down in my exercise. So I have to wait for my aortic valve to be implanted, and then I'll be able to continue with the stressful exercises. Otherwise, I'm doing on level ground. I'm doing 1.5 hours.
Yeah, just to see that you're more ambient, you're more ambulated than sitting.
Absolutely, I don't like to sit.
Yeah, at any time, do not sit more than 45 minutes continuously.
Yes,
and take up and stand it and do that. And because of your aortic valve, you can't even do more of weights and resistance training. That is another thing I could have advised you to develop more lean mass. So then even if you are 79 kilos with good lean mass and less body fat, if you have done any body composition to find out how much is your body fat versus lean mass, that will be helpful. If you can use your body fat, your composition study, the many clinics and hospitals, they have a body fat scale. That will be helpful. You can build more muscles. Then it is, don't worry.
I do weights regularly.
But is it allowed now in dietary valve? Because Sometimes people with the leaky valves, the weights will aggravate. You may want to check on.
Yeah.
You may want to check on that. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank you very much for answering my question.
welcome,
Wonderful.
Damayanti.
Yeah, welcome.
And one last question I would like to use this platform to clear. This is one question by Suman ma'am. So she is saying diabetes pills increase the release of insulin in the body. But if pancreas is not making any insulin, how can pills help in releasing insulin? Because why I'm putting this question is we have a lot of doubt about whether we should eat diabetes medicine or is it a marketing technique? Is it a pharma getting money? All of us have this 100 questions. So I just want to use this platform to clear this to everybody here.
Okay.
Yes, Sudha ma'am. We want to hear from you.
Yeah. So we have two broad types of diabetes. Usually children getting diabetes is called type 1, where the pancreas does not produce insulin at all, zero production. For thus children with type 1, for them breathing oxygen like insulin injection is a must. It's an oxygen for them. Without insulin injection, they cannot survive. That is the type 1 category. Whereas 95% of the population in India has type 2 diabetes, the adults and all of them getting. The is not caused by one genetic problem. It's got polygenetic problem. So the type 2 diabetes has got a notorious problem. People, some of them have insufficient insulin production, not zero production. It is insufficient quantity or deficient. Or some people have enough insulin, but it is very lazy, ineffective. So it is insufficient or inefficient or combination of both. That can cause a problem. So when the doctor gives you the pill, which makes your insulin secrete more, that means the doctor wants the insufficient part of diabetes to address by increasing the insulin production more. It comes to the blood in an effective way and it clears the blood glucose. That is for the insufficient part. There are tablets available even for the inefficient insulin to make the insulin active. It is a lazy insulin. One has to push the insulin, come on, go and clear the glucose from the blood is the insulin job. That insulin is very lazy. Like you have an active child and a lazy child in your family, right? So something like that, you imagine. The hormones behave like child. So you have to train them. And for that kind of a tablet when they give, it is that ineffective insulin. Whereas some type 2 diabetes people living with diabetes for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, they pancreas slowly become worn out. Like as we age, pancreas is also getting older and older. For them, both insufficient and ineffective insulin will have hands up. For them, they will call them as insulin requiring diabetes. They eventually end up with insulin injection. But there are many elderly, we have even published data, those who lived with 100 years still continue to live even above 100 with diabetes, very healthy, without taking insulin also. It is not correct to say that it is a market gimmick for sure. Okay, it is, you need to talk to a doctor to understand your diet. There are a variety of diabetic medication hence to address a combination of insulin deficient, insulin ineffective, or a combination of both. Wonderful drugs are there, time-based. So it is not a marketing gimmick per se. I know there are a lot of WhatsApp videos say, you can go without drugs. These are all the remission. Yes, remission, you can help people who are obese, got diabetes. There are many people thin, get diabetes. That tells you the genetic tendency, and remission is not possible in them.
Can long-term use of insulin cause dementia?
See, there is always with any drug, there is some side effects and things. So without taking diabetic medicine on insulin, you are going to get your organ damage. Diabetes can affect any part of the body, every cell of the body, because the glucose is like a basic fuel for every part of the body. Brain needs pure glucose. So if the brain does not get enough pure glucose, where all the blood glucose is stuck in blood, it is not going to the tissues and cells of the body. It can damage small blood vessels supplying to the nerves and big blood vessels supplying to heart and kidneys, kidneys, eyes, any part of the body. So that's why now even in COVID, diabetes people getting COVID are more dangerous, Diabetic people is more prone for anything because blood glucose is a main fuel, nourishment to all the cells of the body. That way, why dementia, even anything, Alzheimer's, Parkinson, nerve disease, heart disease, diabetic people are more prone to heart disease. Everything they are more prone to if the blood sugar is not kept under good care and control.
Thank
Ma'am,
you.
one question I have.
Yes, Rita, ma'am.
If you there is stones in gallbladder, what food you should take or avoid?
Okay. Normally, gallbladder stones are all usually fatty in nature. So we find that's why they during gallbladder problem, they will have a very frothy stool and a fatty stool, foamy motion. So normally we recommend people to have a low fat diet. So you must eat less of fried foods, eat more fiber foods like vegetables, fruits, and so on. And less fatty foods will definitely help you for your gallbladder stones.
Or is it it's a myth that lady finger is not to be consumed for gallbladder?
No. Who said? What is wrong with the lady finger?
Someone told my
Go
husband.
on finger in your gallbladder. Don't worry. Please eat. Have okra. Please take lady finger.
Okay. And this nowadays it is said that seeds are very good, like pumpkin seed, chia seeds, and all that.
See, cheese. Yeah, most of the seeds have good fat. Again, they are all very calorie like nuts. So you must, if you are eating, if you love chia seeds or pumpkin seeds or whatever seed, the calories you must adjust from cutting down your starchy foods. Somewhere you have to adjust. So you cannot eat your 3 rotis on top of that is chia seed. Definitely not good. So the balance with the total calorie is very important.
Thank you, Sudha ma'am. Wonderful
That was very
statement by you.
informative.
You empowered all of us, with your knowledge. I think now everyone,
pleasure.
we know that, what to eat, what we should avoid, and, really we can make a quiz, I think. We will plan for that. Thank you
very much. It was
for your
a
time.
pleasure interacting with all of you. Thank you for this good opportunity to interact with all the growing young queens and gentle kings. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Wish you all a
Very,
very
very
healthy-
enlightening. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being
Yeah.
with us.
It's a
It's a
pleasure.
privilege
Thank
to
you.
listen to, such an expert in the field.
I'm humble.
Thank you very
much.
much. We
you.
missed the earlier part of the session because we have a death in the family, and so we're running around doing a lot of
so
work.
sorry
so
to hear about
earlier
that.
part.
Sorry
So
to hear
So we
about
will
that.
be sending the recording.
Oh,
You can,
thank
once
you,
it is
thank
done,
you.
we will be sending the recording. You
All
can
right,
watch
thank
it from
you.
that also.
Thank you, because I'm so sad I missed it.
Yeah, well, we'll be sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you all. Yeah, thank you all.
Bye, everyone. Meet you all
Bye-bye.
in the session now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.